Jefferson City Police arrest 3 people in connection with a deadly shooting over the weekend. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jim Rake.
And I'm Brittany Pieper. 52-year-old Johnny Evans died of 2 gunshot wounds on Sunday. JCPD now has more on those suspects. KOMU 8's Angela Pearson is live in Jefferson City with the latest.
I just walked out of a news conference with Jefferson City authorities where they say they arrested 3 men in connection with the murder. 23-year-old Robert Burks, 25-year-old Vincent Smith, and 17-year-old Charles Thompson. Authorities say that Smith and Thompson entered the residence of Evans' home with the intention to rob. The authorities say it took a left turn, which ended in the homicide. Thompson is from St. Louis and was found there and was arrested earlier today. We also have information regarding the murder, the charges they've been filed against them. Both Burke, Smith, and Thompson are facing second-degree felony murder, as well as first-degree robbery and first-degree armed criminal action. Reporting live in Jefferson City, I'm Angela Pearson, KOMU 8 News.
Months after Ferguson, lawmakers across the country are still trying to figure out how to verify police interactions with the public. President Obama asked Congress to fund 50,000 body cameras for police officers across the nation. KOMU 8's Katie Moeller joins us with a look at how some in Missouri are trying to put up 2 roadblocks to that plan.
This morning, Missouri lawmakers discussed a bill that would make it illegal for the state to require officers to wear body cameras. That bill would also keep video collected by any body cameras closed to the public. So this afternoon, I visited one police department in mid-Missouri to see if body cameras are help or hindrance to their work.
Southbound on Westminster, looks like 115 or 1600 block.
Sergeant Billy Camp has patrolled the streets of Fulton for almost 5.5 years. But since this summer, he's had one more piece of equipment to put on every day. A body camera.
I typically turn the body camera on. That way, everything from beginning to end is documented on video.
Fulton Police Department Support Services Manager Sergeant Jimmy Culbertson says body cameras keep everyone, both citizens and policemen, honest.
We certainly look at it as to our advantage because false claims go down dramatically when cameras are involved.
Camp has personal experience with that.
I had a traffic stop and issued the driver a summons. I believe it was for speed. Either later that day or the next day, she called and spoke to my supervisor, claiming that I was rude and said things that were never said.
Camp and his supervisors reviewed the recording and determined the allegations were false. To demonstrate just how the body cameras work, Sergeant Camp pulled me over for a mock traffic stop.
You can see he's asking me for my license and registration, and as you can tell, the camera catches everything that goes on.
While my mock traffic stop video is pretty tame, some lawmakers are concerned about privacy issues if the public can easily access police video.
As police officers, these guys respond to all variety of calls, and cat in the tree, as well as death investigations, and a lot of that is not really all that pretty and not something that needs to be dispersed.
As the law stands now, the public has access to police video under Missouri open records law. If the bill passes, police departments could not release video without a court order.
For example, the Columbia Police Department says it had 21 open records requests for police video over the past 2 years. If the bill passes, people who want that video would have to go to a judge.
Also at the Capitol, state leaders want to crack down on child sex trafficking crimes with a new bill. In a committee hearing today, dozens testified in support of the bill to expand the crime. The bill would include the act of advertising or promoting sex with a child as a separate offense. Lawmakers say websites like Backpage.com are notorious to sex trafficking. A Jefferson City woman who was once a victim of sex slavery also testified. She says it's important that other survivors bring awareness to the issue.
I speak not only for myself but every survivor, and the fact of let's stop these people. Let's get the youth aware of what's going on. So that ends a lot of exploitation right there. Just awareness alone. And
most children involved in trafficking are between the ages of 12 and 14. A former Columbia Boy Scout leader was sentenced today for a case involving child pornography. Ian Burrow was sentenced to 15 years in prison after pleading guilty to several counts, including sexual exploitation and promoting sexual performance by a child. His sentence will run concurrently with a federal sentence of 20 years.
One group in Columbia is looking to make changes along a heavily traveled road to improve pedestrian safety. The Public Transit Advisory Commission wants to request that MoDOT and/or Columbia take a look at a few issues along South Providence Road. Some issues the group would like to have addressed include possibly lowering the speed limit and increasing lighting in the area. The commission says things are still a work in progress, including funding for safety studies in the area.
One of the biggest problems we have right now is trying to find either the funds with MoDOT to do a full safety study, as well as trying to get the city to do that as well. These all require some sort of funding, and trying to figure out who will pay for that.
Other requests the commission has include implementing a review process for pedestrian accidents and adopting standards for overhead lighting of crosswalks. The commission will present these requests at the Bicycle and Pedestrian Commission meeting. That's at City Hall tonight at 7.
Beef prices highs last year. An MU professor says prices could bottom out by this summer. Factors include increased cattle production and a West Coast labor dispute that's keeping beef from being exported to Asia. He says the futures market calls for sharp drop-offs in cattle prices from now till August, and that could mean savings this summer.
Grocery store prices are likely also to moderate and decline a bit as we move towards summer.
He says if farmers see favorable weather conditions this summer, it could lead to even more savings.
The Fulton Education Center hopes to improve education by screening skills for children as early as 3 years old. KOMU 8's Marcel Clark went to Fulton to see how the screenings help staff focus on kids' needs.
Welcome to preschool. Welcome to preschool. Children at FEC are not only learning how to sing and chant, they're learning how to improve their motor, cognitive, and concept skills. A screening process is allowing staff to focus on each child's needs.
The screening process takes about an hour. Children have to identify numbers on a chart like this one and also have to identify these shapes.
The results help highlight a problem that can be fixed before the child goes to kindergarten.
For us, it's been invaluable. I don't know what we would do without the screenings. That's how we find kids who need help. That's how we measure their growth from year to year.
One preschool teacher says this process has facilitated her teaching process and recommends other schools to do the same.
If there's any way at all that they can possibly find the funding and the manpower to give that test, it is a great measuring tool.
Some neighboring school districts only require some sort of assessment or screening until the child reaches kindergarten. Marcel Clark, KOMU 8 News, Fulton.
One parent said the earlier the intervention, the better.
An Alabama Chief Justice is under fire from a human rights group. KOMU 8's Kaylee Peterson is here with today's First Nation Report.
A human rights advocacy group delivered thousands of petitions to Alabama's Chief Justice Roy Moore. The petitions call for an ethics investigation into Moore's efforts to block gay marriage in Alabama. Leaders say they have just over 28,000 petitions, with over half of them from out of state. Moore has instructed probate judges to follow Alabama's Constitution and ignore a federal ruling striking down same-sex marriage bans. President Obama has named the new head of the Secret Service. Joseph Clancy will permanently head the agency after serving as the acting director since October. Clancy succeeds Julia Pearson, who was forced out after a series of security breaches. A White House spokesman says Clancy stepped in at a difficult time for the agency. And that's your first look around the nation.
Ukrainian forces started withdrawing from the eastern side of the country today. A nearby town has become the center of fighting between the government forces and rebels the past few weeks. Yesterday, Russian President Vladimir Putin called on Ukrainian forces there to surrender to rebels. Ukraine's president says 80% of the troops have left the city. Divers off the coast of Israel discovered almost 2,000 gold coins. The crew was exploring an ancient harbor. When the discovery was made, experts believe the coins are thousands of years old.
Columbia Public Schools announced it will start on a 2-hour delay tomorrow because of those freezing temperatures expected. So let's send it over to Tori to find out just how cold it's going to be.
Thanks, Brittany. It's actually pretty cold out there right now. Most of us around the viewing area are still seeing temperatures only in the teens. We're at 14 degrees over in Boonville and in Columbia, 16 degrees currently in Jefferson City, and a little bit warmer down near Clinton, Warsaw, and at the lake, checking in at 19 degrees this evening. We're still scanning a pretty clear sky of mid-Missouri for the rest of your evening and actually heading into a good part of your Thursday morning, but we do have that wind chill and advisory throughout much of your Thursday morning, and that's going to be in effect for Camden, Miller, and Marys counties here in mid-Missouri. Again, that's in effect until 12 o'clock on your Thursday, so make sure you're bundling those kids up as they are heading into school for their late start tomorrow. We do have another chance for some winter weather on the way for the weekend. I'll have my full forecast coming up in just a little bit.
She's not wearing that on her forehead as a fashion statement. Coming up in your health, what symptoms this high-tech device gets rid of.
The Q's